begin our show with breaking news out of Brooklyn. Former NBA player and assistant coach Damon Jones appeared in federal court today for two separate arraignments, pleading not guilty to money laundering and wire fraud charges. The cases, they stem from an FBI investigation into illegal gambling, alleging that Jones shared insider NBA information for bets and participated in rigged poker games. So now bringing in our ABC News chief investigative correspondent from outside the courthouse, Katersky. Aaron, what can you tell us about today's arraignments?
Damon Jones sat at the defense table before a federal judge, Malika, pleading not guilty to a couple of conspiracy charges. In the first case related to the illegal poker games, when it was said that he used his celebrity as a former NBA player, namely for the Cleveland Cavaliers, to lure unsuspecting players to these rigged games. And federal prosecutors said he was in touch with one of the main organizers who actually supplied the altered shuffling machine that helped these guys allegedly cheat. And Damon Jones was what prosecutors called one of the face cards. His face got high rollers to these tables, and they were defrauded out of millions, prosecutors said. He's still in court pleading not guilty to conspiracy charges in the second case, alleging that he provided inside information about an injury to LeBron James before a 2023 game to a sports bettor.
Okay, so Aaron, what happens next in this case?
So a federal judge said that even though Jones pleaded not guilty today, he is considering whether to engage in plea talks to actually change his plea, plead guilty to at least some of the indictment, and try and resolve the case before it goes to trial. That kind of a deal could require him to cooperate against some of the 30-odd other defendants in the case. And remember what prosecutors have said about Damon Jones. He was there for both of these schemes, and so it's possible he could name additional names. It's also possible he could give up information about some of his co-defendants, like, say, Chauncey Billups, who's due here for his arraignment later this month.
Aaron Katersky, our ABC News chief investigative correspondent, thank you so much for your time. As you mentioned, Billups' arraignment is slated for November 24th, and then Terry Rozier's is scheduled for December 8th. That's in federal court, also in Brooklyn. So for more on how this impacts the league moving forward, we're joined by David Purdum and our Shams Charania. Shams, I'm going to start with you here because you reported that a congressional committee met with NBA officials following these indictments. So what more can you tell us about that meeting that unfolded? What took place there?
Malika, the congressional committee called the House on Energy and Commerce met with league officials on Wednesday afternoon for about an hour in Washington, D.C. Adam Silver was not there, but a group of league officials were there to meet with these congressional members, specifically discussing the NBA's partnership with sportsbooks, how you can prevent the illegal use of non-public information, and how the NBA handles its own investigations into sports betting. I am told the league was cooperative in briefing the congressional members. The sides had productive conversations, and this congressional committee plus a separate Senate committee are both researching NBA protocols. Talks are going to continue between the government, between the NBA, as well as the sports books. And here you somewhat have the NBA on the front lines of an issue around sports books and on prop bets and how the sports books and the leagues can work to really regulate that. And then from the league's perspective, how do they handle injury reporting that has an impact on sports betting?
Yeah, it feels like this is not the last time an incident like this could come up. And so the league having to have steps and procedures in place is going to be paramount moving forward. David, where does the NBA stand with the sports books in terms of addressing the integrity issues that we're seeing come up here?
Yeah, the NBA has partnerships with over a dozen sportsbooks, including the two biggest as their co-official sponsors, FanDuel and DraftKings. They remain in ongoing conversations. They're always kind of looking at the betting menus, trying to identify which types of bet offerings may be the most vulnerable to manipulation. Before the season, they actually asked their sportsbooks to not take any wagers, not offer wagering on where a player miss or make a free throw. They didn't want them taking bets on whether whether they would commit a foul or whether they would commit a turnover. And just today, the New York State Gaming Commission reached out to the NBA and said, hey, we have this lever in our statutes where the leagues can come to us and say, we're not comfortable with these types of bets. So now we're going to see if the NBA is going to reach back out and execute some of those levers that they have to control the betting menu.
What are the contributing factors? Can we just go back to the beginning of how we got to this contentious couple of days?
Well, Zach Kleiman, the general manager of Memphis, took a couple of big risks this summer. One was hiring a coach who, as accomplished as he is in Europe, as intelligent as he is not well known to NBA players, does a lot of very unconventional things. And the risk there is you're not going to be able to get the buy-in from your stars. Clearly, that has been an issue. The other risk, and this is going to be a risk either way, decided not to engage Ja Morant in discussions about a contract extension.
That's right.
Jaren Jackson Jr. got his max extension. Ja Morant got a, let's wait and see. You're risking alienating the face of your franchise by basically telling him, we're not sure we want to continue having you as the face of the franchise. In so many words, actions told you that, not the words.
Okay, and so that then brings us to this confrontation that happened in the locker room where Tomas Isolo, the head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies, has talked about he believes in letting things air out in front of everyone, public accountability. That didn't rub Ja Morant the right way. That's what happened?
Yeah, very clearly. And look, it's a commendable approach, and he's talked about this. He came around to this approach when he was coaching in Germany.
Yeah.
Did it when he was coaching in France. It might work in Germany and France. It's a risk in the NBA.
Right.
You can rule with an iron fist in those leagues,
Sure.
in the lower level European leagues. This is an NBA player who's accustomed to, let's be honest, getting his butt kissed and has a max contract. My way or the highway is a rough road to travel.
And now there are people around the league who are asking the question, okay, what's going to happen? There's Ja Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies headed for a breakup. I'm of the belief that the Memphis Grizzlies, they have to take a deep breath here, Bobby, because you do not get stars like Ja Morant, an electric generational talent, very often. How would you be handling this?
Yeah, you don't get a 26-year-old that has 3 years left on his contract either.
Yeah.
Who is probably the face of the franchise. You're still evaluating. We hear 20 to 25 games as far as to get an identity as far as who your roster is. I went back and looked, Malika, since 2012. You know how many trades in the month of November? 8. And 2 of them involved James Harden.
Right.
So I don't see Memphis taking that knee-jerk reaction right now. The schedule is going to play a big role. They've got Dallas coming up on Friday night, but for me, I'm taking a back seat, no knee-jerk reaction, evaluate where this roster is going.
Yeah, and you mentioned James Harden. Why were those trades made at that time? Because he really cranked the temperature up.
Right.
Last night was the first time that Ja made any effort to kind of calm the situation in terms of his post-game press conference.
He is very important to this franchise, and hopefully we can see a way that these two can move forward. It's not used to losing. He's already lost more games with the Mavericks, and he did his last 2 seasons at Montverde Academy and at Duke combined. That's when his teams went 68-4. Tim, this is in your backyard. What is the situation that's unfolding in Dallas here?
Not fun's an understatement. Absolutely miserable. Nico Harrison's worst nightmare. Luka Doncic is leading the league in scoring. The Mavericks ranked dead last by a wide margin in offensive efficiency. This is a team that is in last place in the Western Conference, last place in offensive efficiency, has played 6 of 8 games at home, including home losses to the Washington Wizards and New Orleans Pelicans. The question you hear most around the league about the Mavericks isn't how do they fix it, it's will Nico Harrison get the chance to fix it, or is he in trouble?
Listen, Tim mentioned last in offensive efficiency, no identity at all here. I think you can point to the Kyrie injury and no AD right now, but I'm looking across the street here with the Lakers, who are 7-2, and they've had no LeBron and Luka for part of this season here. How do you fix it here is basically you're going to have to fix it internally. You're going to have to figure out how this roster's help isn't coming on the way here.
Unless Kyrie Irving comes back.
And they moved Klay
point.
Thompson to the bench last night.
Right. And Jason Kidd, it didn't seem like he necessarily was saying that as a permanent change, but they know that they need to try Cooper Flagg maybe at his more natural position here and try some new things to see if they can get clicking here, because the West is waiting for no one. Top rookie dunks we thought of all time. This could be good. Let's see what made the list.
It's gonna be petty too.
Blake on Timothy Mozgov. This is 2010. Ooh, the covering the eyes was just rude.
Was that technically a dunk? He kind of threw it in the bucket.
Oh, come on,
that's,
Is it a thrunk? And then you got Ant
I remember that.
on
Oh
Utah
my
Watanabe.
Right.
Woo. He still does that. Yeah, the end. Jason Tatum, Game 7 of the Eastern
I had
Conference
front row
Finals.
seats. Look at me on with the gray suit over there.
You almost
sat up. I had front row seats.
sat up.
Yeah, but I wasn't going to do that.
Top athleticism. This is 84. MJ in Madison Square Garden. This is the Rocks the Cradle. Wow. Yeah, it cannot be outdone.
Nice little cup.
And an MSG. Also an MSG, this is Sean Kemp.
The rain, man. Oh. Touch your ankles with it.
As a rookie, too. Insane. And then 99, Vince Carter
I remember this.
on Chris Mullin. The reverse.
It wasn't just a reverse. That was like a two-hand windmill type thing.
I can only dream.
Top fast break. We could make a a slow break category for you.
No, we had to have cold. Nice little 360.
And then we had to have Braun,
Yes.
too, the windmill in 2004.
I was on the bench watching that one, too.
Did you get up for that one?
No.
Got up for Tatum, but not Braun.
How about Wemby? A little go-go gadget.
Yeah, this was sick.
This was also sort of the first time people were like, what is happening?
Just so casual.
Yeah. Well, we thought we'd go from rim rattling rookies to some big men balling here because since I'm sitting next to two big men. Last night, we saw big men put up triple doubles. We saw them swat insane shots. We had them go for big rebounds. Perk, who caught your attention?
A grown man.
Yeah.
A grown man, a young man, Jalen Duren.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God. Averaging 18 and 11 right now. Talking about a throwback center, punishing everything around the basket. He had 6 offensive rebounds last night. Just a man amongst boys. And by the way, he don't turn 22 for another couple of weeks.
High expectations, too, for the Detroit Pistons here. Robin, before we get to your impression, you're wearing it's a Donald Duck Disney jacket. What does Donald Duck sound like? What's the impression?
How do you sound like?
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't everybody know? You didn't know that?
That was pretty
That is
impressive.
exactly correct. Perk, do you got one?
What?
A Donald Duck? I can't do it.
Nah, I just bark. You know what I mean? I just bark.
I know you.
Maybe.
Me, This is not going well.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's 88 over here,